All right, let's get right into it. AI is set to change literally everything. But for this explainer, we're not talking about the tech. We're following the money. We're going to break down how AI is creating what just might be the single biggest financial bubble in history, and what the anatomy of that crash is going to look like. You ready? So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the weird paradox at the heart of this whole AI stock boom. Then we'll pull back the curtain on the hidden force pumping it up, what I call the Fed's secret mandate. We'll look at how we've seen this movie before, expose the feedback loop that's making this whole thing spin out of control, and then we'll count down the triggers for the pop and talk about what happens on the other side. So let's start with this central mystery, this paradox that seems to fly in the face of all common sense. I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It cuts right to the heart of the weirdness. How is it possible that every time we hear about more jobs being automated away, the stock market just shoots higher? It feels completely backwards. You think a struggling Main Street means a struggling Wall Street, but in the age of AI, the old rules are getting thrown out the window. Think of it like a crazy seesaw. On one side, you have the real economy, actual jobs, and it's sinking. But on the other side, the financial markets just fly higher and higher. This slide nails that visual perfectly. But here's the thing. This isn't random. There is a huge, powerful player behind the scenes, basically sitting on one end of that seesaw. And that hidden player? It's the central bank. In the US, we're talking about the Federal Reserve. And whether they know it or not, they've become the accidental architect of this entire AI bubble. And here is the absolute key. Just look at this quote. The Fed's main job isn't making the economy grow. It's two things, keeping prices stable and, this is the important part, maximum employment. So what do you think happens when AI starts vaporizing jobs left and right? The Fed is basically forced by its own rules to jump in and flood the system with cheap money by lowering interest rates to try and stop the bleeding. And all that cheap cash? It has to find a home. Now, if all this is giving you a little déjà vu, it should, because we have seen this exact pattern play out before. History isn't just rhyming here, it's practically a carbon copy. I mean, this slide lays it out perfectly. Look at the dot-com bubble from 2000 next to today's AI bubble. The tech is different, sure. Internet then, AI now. But the market driver? Easy money. The catchphrase, the four most dangerous words in finance. This time is different. Spoiler alert, it is never, ever different. It's just human psychology repeating itself with a new shiny object. But here's the scary part. Today's setup might be even riskier. The concentration in the market is just off the charts. You've got just 7 companies, the so-called Magnificent Seven, making up over a third of the S&P 500's entire value. We've basically pushed all of our chips onto a handful of squares. The entire market has placed one gigantic bet on AI. If even one of these giants stumbles, the whole house of cards could come down. And this is where it gets really concerning, because this isn't just a simple bubble that grew by accident. No, it's a self-fueling machine. All these different pieces we've talked about are locked together in what you could call a death feedback loop. And here's exactly how that machine works. It's a 4-step loop, and it's vicious. Step 1, AI gets better and causes job losses. Step 2, the Fed sees the job losses and reacts by pumping cheap money into the economy. Step 3, where does that money go? Straight into AI stocks, inflating their values to the moon. And step 4, those now cash-flush AI companies take that money and pour it into making their AI even better, which leads right back to step 1, more job losses. It's a cycle where bad news for people is great news for AI stocks, pushing the bubble bigger and bigger. But look, every party has to end. Every single bubble in history has popped. The only question isn't if, it's what finally pricks it. I'm about to show you the 5 triggers to watch for, and knowing these could be the difference between getting crushed and getting through this thing intact. Okay, here they are, the 5 pins that could pop this thing. 1, the cheap money spigot gets turned off. 2, the tech just doesn't live up to this insane hype. 3, governments decide to step in and regulate. 4, the market just plain runs out of new buyers. And 5, some random black swan event comes out of nowhere and changes everything. Let's dig into the first 2, because they're the most likely culprits. So, trigger number 1, monetary tightening. This is the classic bubble killer. Imagine if inflation comes roaring back for some reason that has nothing to do with AI. Say a war somewhere spikes oil prices. The Fed would have no choice but to jack up interest rates to fight it. And the second that cheap money disappears, the party is over.
The AI bubble, which is floating on a sea of low rates and future promises, wouldn't just deflate, it would pop. Instantly.
And then there's trigger number 2, simple disappointment. Right now, AI is powered by dreams, self-driving cars, curing cancer. But what if those dreams take way, way longer to become reality? What if companies sink trillions into this tech and the profits just aren't there? The very second that big investors start to ask, wait a minute, where's the money? That's the moment the mania flips to panic. The gap between the hype and the reality is a canyon, and eventually the market is going to look down. So when this thing does finally come crashing down, it's going to be historic. It's going to hurt. But that's not the end of the story, because out of all that rubble, something new and much stronger is going to be born. Just to put this in perspective, during the dot-com bust, the Nasdaq fell a jaw-dropping 78%. Trillions in paper wealth just vanished. Given the concentration and the hype today, you should expect this one to be even worse. But, and this is so important, don't lose hope. When the firestorm passes, the real value emerges. Think about the internet. The bubble popped, the silly companies went bankrupt, but the core technology remained. And the true titans, the Googles and the Amazons, they were built from the ashes of that crash. The real AI revolution, the one that truly changes the world, will only begin after this bubble pops. So let's just recap. AI is going to destroy jobs, the policy response is going to inflate a historic bubble, and that bubble is, without a doubt, going to burst. This wave is coming, and it feels unstoppable. So I'll leave you with this one question. In this new world of destruction and creation, which one will you be? Will you be a victim, with your job automated and your savings wiped out, or will you be a master, using this incredible tool to build the future? I've given you the map. What you do with it now, well, that's entirely up to you.